What is up, everybody? 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel with another video on Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. In this video, we're going to be covering one of the announcements which pertains to an event that's going to be coming out as well on the 26th. So there's going to be two events coming out on the 26th on top of that dungeon ranking event, which I think is crazy. The first one is going to be a critical threat Sephiroth the Arrival. This is going to be another Sephiroth type of a battle. However, I'm not going to be focusing on this one. I'm going to be focusing on the news right over here. So we have a co-op Shiva event coming. So why am I focusing particularly on this co-op? Well, if you guys haven't tried fighting Shiva yet, she is arguably the hardest summon fight in the game. While her power on Very Hard 1 and 2 are lower than Ramuh's, myself and a lot of other players have found this fight to be very difficult, and the reason why I want to focus on this is because with a co-op coming out for it, with mechanics likely going to be very similar to the single player version of this fight, you don't want to be the person to upset people in co-op if you're going to be tackling this, because this fight is a lot harder compared to the Ifrit fight. And I'm here to help you prepare ahead of time as much as you can, so that way you guys know what to expect and you guys won't be a liability in co-op. So that way, even if you need a carry, you could still at least hold your own weight and perform some sort of value during the co-op. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it by just going right into the single player version, since more than likely it is going to be an almost exact mirror of the single player version, but it is just set for co-op. All right, so we're going to go over to Shiva. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Very Hard 1. Okay. First and foremost, you're going to want fire and you're going to want circle sigil. That's pretty easy to do. Now, if you are looking for fire characters, let's go ahead and go to enhance. We're going to take a look at some fire characters that you can take if you guys are looking for particularly fire elements. Okay, so first off, for your free-to-play players, if you had the chance to farm up the weapons during the Ifrit co-op, you could take Zack or you could take Glenn, as these are very good free-to-play options, especially for those of you that were at least able to get it to OB10. These are great options. As you could see, the ability itself, Fire a Surge, it's a single target attack. While the damage modifier is not the highest compared to some of the gacha weapons, it's still a solid weapon. It is a solid stat stick. So Glenn and Zack, if you're looking for single target fire damage, is very good for this. Another good option is if you happen to have Glenn's crew kicker and you have it built up. I don't have it built up, but if you have it built up, this is another great option for a fire single target damage. Another good option is going to be Red 13. Red 13 has access to the Rage Collar, which gives him a physical fire damage attack. So these are some decent options for this. Now, if you're looking something along the magic side, you could always try Sephiroth's Prototype Crimson Blade. It is AoE. Same thing with the Flame Projector for Barret, and same thing for the Crystal Sword with Zack. They're AoE, they're magic, but they still will work because they are of the fire elemental damage. So let's go back to the fight, and let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about some of the things that you need to know to prepare ahead of time. I'm going to tell you right now that while the fire element is very, very important, that is not the most important factor of this fight. So in order to be successful in this fight, you're going to want one person focusing on DPS. Okay, so for example, in this party setup, it's technically Sephiroth, but my Lucia just has the highest power because she's my main. Okay, so you want a damage dealer that has a fire attack. You ideally actually want to have a magical fire attack, because if you take a look at the fight right over here, and you take a look at the enemy info for Shiva, magic attacks are effective on this enemy. So if you're hitting her with a magic attack on top of it being a fire element, it actually does a lot more damage compared to physical. Physical still works. It also helps you deplete her bar, which she does have a bar just like Ifrit and Ramuh. But if you happen to have magic attacks along with fire, it's going to be very helpful. It says right over here, she uses many ice magical attacks. The fire resistance changes based on the force gauge, and the gauge can only be depleted with fire element abilities. These are her particular immunities, so good thing she is not immune to like the attack debuffs and the defense debuffs, so you could at least make her a little bit more squishy. You could also lower her attack. Okay, so you need a DPS. You're going to need a healer. You're going to want your characters to ideally have at least 3,500 HP. 4,000 if possible is better. because there are times where her AoE or even her Heavenly Strike, which is her single target attack, will do a ton of damage. So you want to be able to at least outlast one of those. So hover for around 3,500 to 4,000 HP. But the most important character that's going to be very crucial to this co-op run is someone that can constantly inflict magic attack down debuff. So in this case, usually for this fight, if I were to bring my Lucia, instead of equipping her with the Serpent Eater, what I would do is actually equip her with the Mad Minute. And this is very important because throughout the fight, Shiva will be trying to boost her magic attack like crazy. She's going to constantly boost it, and you want to be constantly inflicting this debuff. Like, if you're playing the role of the debuffer for magic attack, that's literally all you want to be doing. Because trust me, if you allow Shiva to gain any momentum and get her magic attack buff up, the next AoE attack that she does is likely going to nuke your party. I've had it happen to me before when I first tried out this fight on very hard. It's not fun. You literally think you're about to win, and then she hits your entire party for like 9,000 damage, and you have no idea what happened. So the way that you have to deal with that is you have to use a magic attack debuff. Mad Minute is a great example of this. There's other examples. You could try to also go, like, I know Tifa has access to like a magic, I think it's magic attack down with her limit break. I forget because I don't memorize quite, some of the abilities and weapons, but as long as you have a dedicated magic attack debuffer, you should be able to complete this co-op. So again, make sure you have magic attack, somebody that does magic attack debuff. Of course, you want your fire element, you want your circle sigil, you want your healer, you want to focus more on magical damage, even though physical damage will also be okay for this fight, and you want to hover around 3,500 to 4,000 HP if you're hoping to be able to tackle the harder versions of this co-op. But that's going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of preparation ahead of time for this upcoming co-op. Again, I felt compelled to make a video particularly on this upcoming co-op because I know that, a lot of us have already done the Ifrit one. We pretty much are prepared with the free-to-play weapons, but I still need to warn you guys that this particular fight is much harder. There are mechanics in it that you have to be able to deal with, such as Shiva increasing her magic attack constantly, and if you're able to deal with that, if you're able to coordinate with your party, with your co-op party, you should be good to go on this fight. Alright guys, well that's going to go ahead and conclude my video to help you guys prepare ahead of time for the upcoming Shiva Co-op. Let me know what your thoughts down below on this upcoming co-op that's going to be coinciding with other events that are coming out, which I think is crazy. They're giving us these many events in one day. Let me know what your strategies are. Let me know which character you're going to take. All that good stuff. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.